What's going on, everyone? So, reports have came out that Demar Derozan to the Chicago Bulls isn't necessarily a done deal, that he may end up hitting free agency. There's a lot of talks for a while of the Chicago Bulls potentially giving him like a big contract offer. There was reports thrown out there of like 30 to maybe even 40 million, which just seemed insane to me, right? It's like, at what point do you hit the reset button if you're Chicago, right? Like, why? It's like the definition of insanity, doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. And yet they just kept continuously doing that. And for the last like 2 years, everybody, I mean, even Chicago fans were like, dude, hit the reset button. Let's rebuild. This team clearly doesn't work. There was a stretch where they did look like, Alonzo healthy and everything, like they may be a formidable team, but it just didn't work out. And no one's going to knock Chicago for trying, right? A lot of teams don't even try, right? At least Chicago made an effort. At least Chicago tried to put together a championship level team. Didn't work. It's fine. You have pieces that could be very valuable. You should have sold Zach LaVine when he was at an all-time high. DeMar DeRozan, you could have gotten a ton of stuff. I mean, the Lakers, us, we were desperate like 2 years ago. Like desperate. They probably could have fleeced us to give up, a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. The Lakers would have, LeBron loved DeMar. He wanted DeMar back when DeMar, before he went to Chicago, right? And they just continued to make the wrong decisions. But then they made the trade Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. And that was something that was like, hey, wait a minute. Is this like the sign that they're finally going to rebuild? Is this a sign that they're finally going to hit the reset button, right? And if so, something I talked about was like, hey, this signals like it to me. Can we maybe get some of the pieces? Obviously, I really wanted Alex Caruso. That one hurt. But could we get like a Patrick Williams, or are they going to end up keeping him, right? But even then, right, they have several pieces. Torrey Craig is, a 3-and-D guy that I think can make some sense. And some of their free agents, right? DeMar DeRozan. If DeMar DeRozan hits free agency, is it possible for the Lakers to get him? Now, right out the gate, the only way that the Lakers would be able to get DeMar DeRozan is probably most likely sign and trade, right? But it also depends on his market. Right? So if D'Lo opts in, then there's probably no shot. Again, you could probably sign and trade, but are the Lakers really going to sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan, hard cap themselves, right? Like, I don't know. I would have to guess probably not. I don't think the Lakers would do that for DeMar. As much as I like DeMar, as much as I think DeMar would help, I just think that, with his age and stuff, I think the Lakers would kind of rather go younger, go trade for DeJounte or something like that. But if D'Lo was to leave, right, would DeMar take the full mid-level exception? Now, I don't think he will if there's other offers out there. I think he wants the bag, right? I think if somebody offers him 18 to 20 million, I think he takes it. However, what team is that? Right? Because Chicago was kind of the only name in town that looked like they were willing and interested to give him like a sizable contract, right? So it's like you scour the league. Like, I don't think San Antonio brings back DeMar DeRozan. I don't think OKC brings in DeMar DeRozan. I think that they want to go get a center, right? Orlando, like, does Orlando make sense for DeMar DeRozan? I think that they would rather have probably D'Lo or Klay Thompson in that regard, because they want some shooting, right? So you start looking around the league of teams that have cap space, and I don't really see any of them potentially wanting DeMar. Now, that doesn't mean that maybe a team won't, right? Maybe Spurs are like, hey, he'd be really good for some of our young guys. Let's bring him in, right? You give him, a 1 or 2 year deal, or, maybe a cap holder, right? Like the JJ Redick rule, right? Where it's like, hey, we're going to give you like this inflated contract for 1 year, and then now we have cap flexibility, or we have you as a tradable expiring salary. So, hey, we might give you $30 million this year, but just know, like, we're not doing this long term. It's just kind of this year. And if a trade is available, we're shipping you out. You see a lot of players will do that at times. Again, it's kind of what Indiana did with Bruce Brown, right? They gave him this inflated contract, and they were able to trade him to go get Pascal Siakam. So could a team maybe do something like that? It's possible, right? It's definitely a possibility. And DeMar is still a very good player. He's one of the best clutch players in the league. He's one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league. He's an absolute bucket getter. I know that there's concerns that, he doesn't really shoot threes and stuff, but there's more to floor spacing than shooting threes. If the Lakers could get DeMar DeRozan for the full mid-level exception, I don't see him taking the taxpayer mid-level, right? if we can get him, like let's say D'Lo leaves, who is better to replace D'Lo than DeMar DeRozan on the taxpayer or on the full mid-level exception? Right? Like, there isn't anybody. Go look at who's available. It's all like it's terrible. Right? But DeMar DeRozan would be one of those guys that absolutely could. I actually think he'd be better than what D'Lo would provide, especially in the playoffs. Right? So if you could basically swap out D'Lo for DeMar DeRozan, to me that's a no-brainer. But again, there's a couple things that have to fall in line. I do think, let's say teams are offering him, say, like 15 million, maybe like 16 million, something like that. I could see him maybe taking less to go to the Lakers, like if it's close, right? If somebody's like, hey, we'll give you 15 million a year, and the Lakers are like, hey, we'll give you the full mid-level exception, which is like, 2 million less than the 15. It's like 2.1, something like that. But, like basically it's like right there. I could see him going like, hey, I've always wanted to play for the Lakers. I'd love to play with LeBron and Anthony. I could see him kind of taking that small discount to go to the Lakers, the hometown discount. There was talks that he was willing to do that back when he was working out trades with the Spurs, right? And he thought he was going to Lakers. So again, that could be a real possibility that maybe he's willing to take a little haircut. But again, if a team is like, hey, we'll give you 20 million, even for 1 year, I think he goes and gets the bag. I do. I think that that's probably the case scenario. But look, if the Lakers have a way of getting DeMar DeRozan, I think you should do it. Right? In a perfect world, the Lakers sign DeMar DeRozan with the full mid-level exception and then go trade for like DeJounte Murray. And now you have like DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Like at that point, good luck. Right? Obviously, there's still concerns with the three-point shooting, right? Because DeJounte Murray isn't this like great three. I mean, he's getting better and he's been improved and he's playing off ball. He's been a lot better lately, but he's basically slightly above league average, right? DeMar DeRozan, he's a bucket getter, but he's not a guy that shoots 10 to threes. Obviously, Jared Vanderbilt would be a concern. LeBron, can he still stay around 38 to 40%? That's always a possibility. And then Anthony Davis, he doesn't give you much anymore unless he can kind of get back to it. He can hit the occasional three, as we saw last year, but he's not like some lockdown, he's not Cat or anything like that, right? But I just think you have so much talent, and JJ Redick, if he properly creates an offensive system, I think that lineup would be tough, right? Because DeMar still shoots deep twos, right? He might not shoot threes, but he's pretty close, right? And DeJounte Murray and his ability, LeBron playing off ball, like you can run a lot of ball movement, a lot of actions. You got a lot of just versatile players there. I don't hate the idea of bringing in DeMar DeRozan, especially because it's like, what else is there, right? Like, because if you could get DeMar for free, again, like, who are you getting that's better, for one? And two, like, what are your other options? Your only other options would be via trade. And, like, who are you trading for? Again, like, DeJounte Murray would be great, but Donovan Mitchell's probably a bit of a pipe dream. I don't think it's impossible, right? I think it kind of depends on what Donovan Mitchell wants, right? If he really forces and pushes his way to the Lakers, then maybe. But more likely than not, that is probably a pipe dream. Trey, you could trade for Trey, but like I still kind of lean towards DeJounte Murray more, and I would probably rather have DeJounte Murray and DeMar DeRozan, and you figure it out rather than just Trey, right? Like I would. I like Trey a lot, and I think people kind of undervalue Trey and what he can do, but no, DeJounte Murray I just think would be a better fit, especially with LeBron, and I think that you add in DeMar DeRozan, who could just be a bucket getter. I do think that would just, you kind of solve everything that you'd be getting from Trey in that regard. So again, it's like, who are you getting that would be better than DeMar DeRozan at basically for free, because you're not having to trade any assets to go get him. And maybe, if let's say you do sign DeMar DeRozan, maybe you're looking at other types of trades to kind of like, build around, right? JJ wants to play more LeBron off ball. But like if you were able to get DeMar for free, right, do you maybe just kind of have DeMar be your initiator and then the offense kind of flow through LeBron and then you run a bunch of action? Like that could be a possibility, right? it just, to me, it's like, if you can get him, you get him and you figure it out. The guy is still a bona fide bucket. The guy is, again, one of the best closers in all the NBA. The guy basically does everything that the Lakers desperately need as a scorer. He can play the 2 through 4 on some occasions, right? Like, he's a guy that's very versatile. He, again, can initiate and kind of set up the offense. He's not really a playmaker, but like even in San Antonio even had him at times being the kind of point guard, right? So like, I think he could kind of do the same thing. Like, you could even just kind of almost go positionless and just slot him at the point and then kind of go from there, right? Like, and maybe put like, I wouldn't like Reeves alongside DeMar, right? I just worry about the defensive liability. But if you could go like DeMar, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron, and AD. Now you got some defense. Now you got some point attack. Max Christie was, 40% on catch and shoot threes. I don't know. I just, again, I think if you can get him, go get him. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of like, yes, go get DeMar DeRozan if you can get him? Again, it's probably a bit of a long shot, right? There's a couple of things that have to happen, but I don't think it's that far-fetched, right? Again, how many teams are going to be interested in signing him? Maybe if they miss out on a couple other guys, maybe, but I don't think he's going to be the first priority for anybody. But anyway, again, how you feel, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.